while we're on the subject of unique martial arts, I'm going to choose a movie that I bet a lot of people out there haven't seen. It's 1993's Only the Strong.
I haven't seen it.
I'm gonna change that for you today.
Okay.
It's directed by Sheldon Lettich, who did a lot of Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. Double Impact was him. Lionheart, The Order, a movie called The Hardcore, like Corps.
Oh,
Yeah,
love that.
A movie, a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie I've never heard of.
That sounds. If you were to ask me who stars in a movie called Hardcore, and it's spelled that way, I would say it's probably Van Damme.
Okay, so the back of the box here is long, but I'm gonna read the whole thing because might as well let the box do some of the work for me here.
Yeah.
Ex-Special Forces soldier Louis Stevens returns to Miami to find his former high school overrun by drugs and violence. He pledges to straighten out a dozen of the high school's worst students by teaching them capoeira, a demanding and highly disciplined fighting style. Slowly, his program begins to work, giving the students new hope and purpose. But the local drug lord, himself a martial arts expert, vows to stop Stevens' positive influence.
They always are.
Now Stevens must fight to save his own life, as well as the lives of his rebellious young students.
Well.
Tagline, the ultimate martial art.
Okay.
The back of the box gives you pretty much the whole plot. This is basically like if Hoosiers and Bloodsport and Dangerous Minds all had a baby.
Exciting.
An interesting bit of trivia about this movie, the fight choreographer is a man by the name of Frank Dux. Do you know who Frank Dux is?
Never heard that name.
He's best known as the basis for the movie Bloodsport.
He's the basis for the movie, not like the stunt coordinator or something?
He was in the. I think he was also the stunt or the fight coordinator.
Okay.
In that movie, I think he might have even been given a script credit or something. But so this is the guy who he had claimed to have been trained in ninjutsu as a teenager by a master ninja named Senzo Tanaka. Wow. And then he went, after he was trained to be a ninja master by this guy, he went on to win a secret martial arts tournament called the Kumite in 1975. And that's what Bloodsport is about.
Yeah,
like he told this story and they made a movie about it.
Wow.
The existence of both the Kumite and the Sensei Tanaka guy have been absolutely disputed by everybody, as well as almost everything he has claimed about himself. I guess I didn't look too much into this guy. He has an interesting past. He's written some books, I think. He claims to do some things in the military that he didn't do. He was supposedly recruited into the CIA, which of course there's no record of. And everyone just basically is like, this guy is just like completely full of shit. But anyway, so his bullshit story about the Kumite became the movie Bloodsport. And he's the fight choreographer for this movie.
Wow.
Now this is the only known movie to feature capoeira.
I got to know what this is because I ran across the word and I was like, I'm not even sure how to pronounce this, much less what the fighting style consists of.
The only reason anybody really knows what capoeira is at all is because of this movie, in America at least, is because of this movie.
Really?
And not a lot of people have seen this movie. But yeah, and this is the only instance of a capoeira movie existing in Hollywood history. There was a brief bit of it in the movie Get Hard with Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart.
Oh.
There was a scene where Will Ferrell was training in the front yard to get hard, and he starts to do the ginga, which is this move, was what it's all based around. But we'll get into that in a second. Now, capoeira it's a Brazilian martial art.
Okay.
It was developed by African slaves in Brazil. And as far as I know, it's the only martial art that explicitly incorporates music, acrobatics, and dancing.
There's a dance fighting element to this?
This is dance fighting.
Yes.
Now the reason this martial art has dancing in it, and there's a musical element to it, and there's like it involves so many acrobatic moves, is because it was to disguise the fact that these slaves were practicing fighting techniques. And so they could say like, oh, we're just dancing. We're just doing like this thing. And so they devise an entire martial art around looking like they're dancing.
Oh, my goodness.
And so it mostly disappeared after Brazil made slavery illegal. They also made capoeira illegal, which I don't understand. I guess maybe that was the compromise.
Right.
But it started making a comeback in the 70s, and eventually it ended up making its way to somebody in America. So it involves a lot of somersaults and cartwheels, high kicks, inverted kicks, and the ginga, the move it's based around, is like this kind of like this low rocking move where you put like one foot behind the other and go back the other way, and then you use that to kind of flip yourself around. And it's just a very unique style, and it allows you to land blows from kind of all directions and in any position.
Wow.
And like I said, this is the only movie that exists that has capoeira as like the main hand-to-hand combat.
Oh, wow. Man, I'm picturing this in my head, and I feel like I'm not even going to say I have an accurate idea of what this is, but it certainly sounds intriguing.
The lead of the movie, Mark Dacascos.
Yeah.
Well, he was an experienced martial artist, but he had to learn capoeira for this movie. It wasn't, at least especially at this time, it wasn't something that you really learned.
Well, it was outlawed.
It was outlawed, yeah. He's actually best known for being the chairman on the Iron Chef. He gives a great physical performance. It's not the most nuanced acting, but the story itself in the movie, it's very vague in a very like 80s cheesy movie way, where it's like they don't really explain how this guy like gets a job at the school. They just kind of like yada yada that, and then they don't really say what he was doing in Brazil, but they like refer to it all the time about like the time he was like a special ops guy, They don't really say anything about what he was doing. Yeah. But his capoeira plays great on screen, and in fact, all the capoeira plays great on screen. To me, it's kind of outrageous that there aren't like 10 capoeira movies coming out every year, because it's just so cinematic. It's so fun. This movie has a rhythm to it that really matches the martial arts that are in the movie. The songs are catchy because like there is a genre of the music that goes along with capoeira, and what they do in the movie is one of the outcast kids. He also like is like a musical genius, and so he takes some of the capoeira songs and mixes them with hip hop. And actually, do you remember the song that went to the Mazda commercials, the Zoom Zoom song? Yes. That's from this movie.
Really?
Yeah, that's a capoeira song.
I was going to ask. I feel like there's a type of music that you often hear in martial arts movies or hand-to-hand action movies in general. It's very percussive. Yes. But this sounds like it might be something different. It might be introducing a different sound to fighting than you typically encounter in film. It's
just very rhythmic, and this movie is like it's just got a vibe to it.
Boy, it sounds so interesting, and I've got so many questions. I don't want to derail you, but I'd like to throw a hypothetical situation at you.
Please.
So let's just spitball in here. Let's say you and I begin to disagree on the staff recommendation shelf, and it gets pretty heated, and you decide to learn some capoeira, and you show up at the store one day, and you're ready to do battle. And I recognize, after having seen this movie, that some capoeira is coming my way. Would I throw you off if I maybe throw on a polka? And
that is an interesting question.
Is that a way to maybe thwart this martial arts style?
That is a good thing to bring up because it is something that I was wondering.
Okay.
It doesn't. It seems like you don't need it because there are some street fights.
Okay.
So, and then a couple times in the street fight, some guys will start like doing the clapping thing because, it helps. But it's not always going on. So I think, and you know what? Every music has a beat to it. So I think if anything, you throw in some polka, it's going to help. Right?
Yeah.
So don't do that.
Okay.